In Antonio Damasio's book, Descartes' Error, he talks of a patient, Eliot, who was a socially adept, intelligent, diligent, capable man with a well-paying job, but a tumor in his brain damaged adjacent areas of his prefrontal cortex tied to the formation of emotional states. Post-surgery, people close to Eliot noticed that he developed a tendency to get stuck on one single task, persisting long after it would have been appropriate to move on to something else, or he would squirrel off to work on something unimportant instead of tackling something more urgent. And Eliot's description was flat when he was talking about his health struggles, lacking any sense of sadness or frustration, both of which would have been appropriate, considering his condition. The damage to his brain had affected his emotional core, leaving him unable to properly engage with his work or to connect with other people. This would seem to put Eliot's future happiness and well-being in jeopardy. But while he could recount his own story accurately, he didn't seem to be moved by it. As Damasio continued to treat Eliot, he developed the hypothesis that emotions are critical to effective decision-making. One might have assumed that good decision-making comes down to some kind of pure logic, but Damasio, in his book Descartes' Error, suggests otherwise. We need to know what we feel in order to weigh the variables and decide what to do about them. Now, this Eliot patient has been, this hypothesis validated multiple times. His neuroscientist Antoine Bechara, for example, and others have shown that emotions are inextricably entwined with our decision-making faculties. In fact, if we attempt to somehow remove any emotions from our decision-making process, we find ourselves mentally paralyzed, like Eliot. So, connection is about bringing intuition to work, acknowledging the importance of emotions in psychological safety in decision-making. And emotions do not belong in the workplace as a relic to an era when we didn't think people needed to exercise good judgment to make important decisions. Emotions are part and parcel of making good decisions. So every time you use your sense of sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell, electrical signals travel through your body into your brain, gathering in your frontal lobe just behind your forehead to form perception about the world in front of you. The sensory signals pass through the reasoning area of your frontal lobe, giving you an emotional, intuitive picture of the world around you. And accompanying these intuitions or physical responses: a lump in your throat of sadness, a flashing with heat of anger, a paralysis for fear, rapid heartbeat, sweating for anxiety and anticipation. These emotions are finely tuned, sophisticated tools that have evolved over millions of years, so do not ignore them. As we need to get everyone involved in the uncertainty of blue work. That's the planning. So we need emotion. Bring back emotion to the workplace.